Hello, and welcome to my review of Mandalorian episode 15, entitled The Believer by Rick Famuyiwa. It's going to take me a long time to be able to say that. Anyway, of course I cut myself shaving because I always, every time I want to put my face on camera, I always race to shave and then I end up cutting my face and then blood is just dripping out of my face through the whole review. It's just someday I'm gonna just have all these scars on my face, and people are gonna be like, "Dan, how'd you get all those scars on your face? Were you in the war?" And I'll be like, "No, I'm a YouTuber." All right, but anyway, enough nonsense. Let's get down to business. Rick Famuyiwa directed this one, and he's another director that I just realized he directed some really good episodes that I really love, and also some episodes that I didn't like that much. Like he directed episode 2 in season 1, The Child, where Din Djarin had to fight the crawling fortress or the sand crawler or whatever you want to call it with all the Jawas. But he also directed the episode with Bill Burr I think it was the jailbreak one. I forget what the title was, but Rick Famuyiwa directed this, and he wrote this episode too. Which is also interesting because, usually I think Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni write. Maybe just Jon Favreau. But in this one, Rick Famuyiwa directed it, and it was a pretty decent episode, I must say. Yeah, the writing wasn't horrible. The action was pretty good. It even brought, when I first started watching it, and I saw that Bill Burr and Cara Dune were going to be in it, I was like, this is not going to be a good one. But, I feel like they're starting to use Cara Dune a little bit better. They're not just constantly rubbing it in your face about how tough she is. She just comes on, she just shows up and does the job. And, I'm starting to like her. I would say I'm starting to like her. Not as annoying. I mean, actually, the last episode she was in, I recall that one being a little annoying because she was, I don't know, she was just, doing all these weird moves, rolling around on the floor and doing MMA stuff while people were shooting guns at her. And, I don't know, I didn't like that. But in this one, I feel like she was just no bullshit. Not, just trying to remind you how tough she was. She was just she seemed like she had seen some shit. She seemed like she was mellow, composed, maybe a little, just a splash of jadedness. And I wonder if that's just because, the director was, giving her notes or whatever. I don't know. I feel like maybe I don't hate the actors. Maybe I just don't like how the directors treat those actors. And again, Bill Burr, I was not excited to see him again. I love him as a comedian, but I was thinking I don't really like him as an actor. But in this episode, he was pretty good. I liked him in this one, and maybe that's just a director thing. Maybe when he's written well and directed well, he can be a good character. At first, I was like, oh, he's just gonna be more he's not gonna be really playing a character. He's just gonna be doing Bill Burr's personality in Star Wars, and I was thinking I didn't like that, but I don't know, it didn't bother me in this one. Maybe I just got used to it. I mean, I guess there's gotta be a smartass in the Star Wars universe. You can't have a whole universe without a single smartass. So, I thought that they handled it well. I was thinking that maybe in the but wait a minute. Rick Famuyiwa directed this one and the episode I didn't like him in. I don't know. I wonder if my unhappiness with that episode had to deal with a lot of the cheesy characters. There was that Twi'lek woman with the tentacles growing out of her head who was always just walking around going just overacting. And then there was the devil horn guy, and I feel like maybe there were a lot of other bad actors that made me feel I didn't like the characters, and maybe I was just assigning all the negativity that I felt for those characters to Bill Burr. Even though now that I think of it, Bill Burr was not the worst actor in that show. Like there were times when in that episode where I thought he was overdoing it a little bit. It was like, "What are you, a gun under that mask?" Like I don't know. Like some of his quips were a little too much. But I don't know, when all the characters are like tough guys and soldiers, and Bill Burr's like the only one making the Kraken wise, I didn't hate it as much. Like there were none of them. All the people in this episode were good actors. Like Bill Burr was. Well, Gina Carano is not really an actor either, but I don't know. I feel like they just handled those two characters better. Man, there was some interesting stuff in this episode. The Mandalorian had to take his helmet off, and that was kind of tense. Like he doesn't want to take his helmet off. There was an episode last season where he took his helmet off, but he took his helmet off in front of a robot, so it was kind of like the robot's not alive. He doesn't count. In this one, he took it off in front of some people, and not only that, but he took his helmet off in front of a guy that mocked him, and he took it off in front of Bill Burr, the smartass character, and boy, it was interesting because not only can you sense that these characters, they don't necessarily like each other, they're together because they need each other. And it was just disgraceful that Din Djarin had to take his helmet off in front of that guy, the guy that would be most likely to mock him and humiliate him. But this is why the Mandalorian is interesting, because on one level he's this hard-bitten warrior. In the first part of the episode when Bill Burr's just chattering away, we get to see him back at acting in the no bullshit style that he would act in the previous season, where people would be chattering at him and he's just like, I got nothing to say to your BS, and he just not say anything. And you could tell that he didn't really like Mayfeld that much, Bill Burr's character, because he was doing this. He was just giving him the coldest of shoulders, and so finally he had to take his helmet off in order to get past this one hurdle in the plot, and Pedro Pascal, he just was looking hangdog, he was just disappointed, humiliation, you could just, his face was just dripping with embarrassment, and he just seemed like he was out of his element because one of the enemies was questioning him, and he was just, he couldn't handle it, and Bill Burr had to come in and talk him through it. That, I thought that was such a tense, well done scene where it's just we see I was talking about Spock before. Spock's thing is he's not supposed to show emotion. He's supposed to be all logical, but he would always be put in situations where the emotion would creep in, and he would just weighing emotion versus his code of conduct, and that's what Din Djarin had to do in this episode. He's got the code where he's not supposed to take his helmet off. He has to follow these rules in the Mandalorian culture, but he's got to save his adopted son, and it's just he has to take his helmet off to save his kid. But then there's the code, and it's just I feel like those choices where he's got to weigh one against the other, those are well done. Good job, Rick Famuyiwa. Yeah, so far, Rick Famuyiwa, he's got two of my favorite episodes right now. One of them, not I didn't like the episode, but I don't remember if I hated it. I hated a lot of the characters. I wonder if he wrote that. Maybe I should look it up. But anyway, he wrote and directed this one, and I feel like this is one of the better episodes. And you know what? I was starting to think that maybe I didn't I was starting to not like the season 2 of The Mandalorian, but the more I think of it, I think this, there 7 episodes so far, and I like 4 of them, and kind of didn't like 3. So I feel like season 2, I'm starting to like it a little bit better. Like, there's just more stuff that I love than hate. And in season 1, I feel like I loved the first 3 episodes, but the other ones were just like, meh, I don't know. But this one, I'm just like, the love hate scale is just tipping a little bit in favor of love again. I must say, the Mandalorian is one of the best things that's ever happened to Star Wars. And I'm not just one of these people who hates Disney Star Wars because I didn't like the prequels. You might even say I started disliking Star Wars like back during the special edition years when they started doing that, like this corny CGI where like Greedo fires at Han and his laser blast goes way off to the side, and then there's like this still image of Harrison Ford moving, and it looks so fake, and like, what is this tween flash animation? Like, I hated the special edition. So this, like, The Mandalorian, it's one of the best things that's happened to Star Wars in a long time, I must say. Yeah, I hated the prequels. Disney Star Wars pretty much sucked except for Rogue One. And I liked Rogue One the first time I saw it, and then the second time I saw it, I just kind of got a little bored and turned it off, but it's still up there in the upper echelon of Star Wars. Alright, do I have anything else to say? Yeah, Din Djarin was looking hangdog when he had to take off his helmet. There was a lot of decent action. I thought it was a little strange that, like, Bill Burr was, dressed as one of the bad guys, and all the bad guys were wearing masks, but he just took his mask off as if it was a casual thing and nobody questioned him. But none of the other bad guys none of them took off their uniform, and that made me question it. But I don't know, they just got into a big fight, so maybe they were forgiving of them because they were both wearing disguises, and they got beaten up and they were fighting and stuff. Din Djarin took off his Mandalorian uniform and he put on a disguise that was a different kind of armor, and I thought that was kind of interesting because they were beating him up, and it looked like he was trying to use this other armor to block in the same way that he uses his what is it called, Beskar armor to block, and it was just cracking and crumbling away, and I thought maybe that would be a good opportunity to like give him a wound, like maybe breaks his wrist or something, but I don't know, it didn't happen. But I thought it would have been cool if he just got injured a little bit. There was one, like, as far as my normal critiques of bad CGI and the look of the film, I think everything looked good. There was one part where there was this car chase, like a Mad Max like car chase, and there was like cars in the back and cars in the front, and the bad guys were all jumping from behind onto the front car, and I was just thinking, like, does that make sense? I don't really know if it makes sense or not, but it was just something that made me question. Like, I know, like, when you're in a moving vehicle, you have all the momentum of the thing that you're standing on. So in theory, you should be able to jump, and you've got the added boost of the car behind it. And if you can jump from one car to another while they're not moving, in theory, you should be able to do the same thing when they are moving because you've got the added momentum of the car behind. But then you got to take into consideration like wind resistance. I don't know. I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but it was just one of those things that made me pause for a minute and think, like, could they do that? But other than that, I don't really have too many complaints about it. Yeah, I don't think I have too many complaints about it. I didn't hate Bill Burr. I didn't hate Cara Dune, and they're usually people that make me want to score lower just because maybe not Bill Burr, but Gina Carano. She was pretty. She had it together on this one. She did a good job, I think. Yeah, all the characters were solid. There was one part where the main bad guy in this one um, I thought it was interesting that he had like a southern drawl, like he was just talking in this southern, like, and like people like left leaning people often are very bigoted towards people from the South and bigoted toward accents, and I was just like, are they trying to make some kind of political statement here? Because they were just like talking about like war crimes that one of the bad guys committed, and he had this thick southern drawl, and it was just like, are they trying to, like, for some reason the left is, they get away with being extremely racist and bigoted towards people with the South, from the South, like people from the South, for some reason it's okay, like they're the only ones that it's okay to be racist towards. And I don't know, it just made me pause, like the fact that his accent was just dripping with southernness while they were talking about all these war crimes. And I don't know, it bugged me a little bit, but other than that, I thought this was a good episode. Like, we got to see all the different types of stormtrooper uniforms at one point, and it was just like, I like variations in like, I get that maybe in the first Star Wars a lot of the stormtroopers had like, one, basically there were like three types. Maybe there was like the regular stormtrooper, there was the ice trooper, the biker scout, and then we had some like stormtrooper pilots, and there was like the Imperial officers, Imperial commandos. But in this one, there were just like multiple types of stormtroopers. Like there were the truck drivers. Like you just saw all these different uniforms, and I feel like it just fleshed out the world in such a nice way. So yeah, I think I've talked about everything I want to talk about. Yeah, this was a good episode. I would say. I don't know if I'm kind of wavering back and forth between A- and A, because like there was very little to complain about, and like even though I tend to be a little nitpicky and I complain a lot, and I'm just like, I don't know, there was very little. I think I'm gonna be nice Dan today, and I'm gonna go A. So yeah, good. This was a good episode. Good job, Rick Famuyiwa. It's gonna take me forever to learn how to pronounce that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good day.